Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Marco. I'm a former professional opera singer turned YouTuber, and I love talking about video game music from an emotional perspective. Today we're checking out Fulghor, Champion of Nightglow from Elden Ring, Nightreign. Oh, that's so cool. First of all, great track. I mean, I love how bombastic it is. To me, it really feels like, now I'm not being ironic, but this feels like a knight. This feels like a, a very poised, focused, whether he's on horseback or not, I don't know, but there's an elegance in the sound, but also like, it's very smooth, right? Even though it's very sharp and very rhythmic, there's also a smoothness to it. Definitely feels like a very poised being. And one of the cool things, the reason why I stopped is because we have all this noise. And then right here we have this dialed back feeling with the a cappella, basically. There's some supporting underneath, but the male choir has been in this the whole time, which is very dominant, very masculine, very, strong, energetic, real quality in that of presence, of power, of again, like I said, poise. But I really love how we pull back and we do this, which is why I stopped. Like that to me is scream ba 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 dee dum bum bum ba ba da dum bum bum. That really screams like, what are you going to try now? There's a confidence. He's cocky. There's almost a sense of like, this doesn't feel desperate. It doesn't feel mystical. It doesn't feel any of the things that I've heard in previous of Nightreign tracks. This is very much elegance, but also the ability to cut you down very, very, very efficiently. Love that heavy brass. Dude, that's so full. Oh my God, that's so cool. I love how I mean, it's just so visceral. It's just like a rhythmic field day. My God, that's so cool. Listen. I love that part. I mean, so it has a bam bam ba and then it goes I love that rhythmic movement. Oh my God, that's so cool. Yeah. And that works so well because we have this really sharp rhythmic thing, and then we pull back and we end up having a legato. So actually, in some ways, characterization wise, it kind of feels like there's a balance there. There's the rhythmic sharpness and there's the smooth fluidity. And you have to wonder to yourself, is that because of the moveset? Is it because of the lore? Is it because there's two personalities in one? Is it because this is a balance of rage and almost like an internal struggle? Like what's the implication there? And it's so cool how musically we can have these gorgeous and effective back and forths between strong, not harsh, but strong, very pronounced rhythms, coupled with then moving into the smoothness and it's like peanut butter and jelly. It just like works so well together. If you've ever had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, then I don't know what to tell you, but they work well together. Phase 2. The guys go up to go, love that. Love how smooth that is. It's interesting. On the one hand, the track is fairly one-dimensional in the sense that like we don't have a ton of change, right? Like Fulghor is Fulghor like throughout this entire piece. But what I find interesting is that there's a moment of hesitation where there's a slight change where we pull back and the strings are pulled forward. The men almost disappear, almost as if, again, let's say Fulghor is human or has humanity within itself, in him. It's almost like that humanity gets snuffed out, and almost like there's an internal battle within Fulghor to then, like he's losing himself to madness maybe. And in this moment, there's this pullback where it almost gets quiet. Can't really, and then suddenly, I'm not going to give up. So it's actually, even though we're fighting him, it almost feels like there's an internal fight within himself. And the sharpness of the rhythm is almost his responsibilities, his duty. I think one of the hard parts about the Nightreign bosses is that because they're so individualized, well, I do think that their character themes are really cool to listen to. And I think that there is some stuff you can extrapolate lore-wise. They feel very insular to their specific circumstance, so they lack a tiny bit of three-dimensionality. Now, I don't know if there's an expansion on lore that will be able to understand better some of these characters. Maybe there already is, but just on my listenings, all I can really do is like think about what the music makes me feel and how I'm connecting to the sound, and also what some of the compositional structuring that's going on, what that actually means. It's a bit of guesswork, but I think it's really cool to like, why have the pullback there? Was it just because it sounded good and we needed a break, or is it because Fulghor is literally within an inch of his own sanity and he's losing himself and drowning in his own consciousness, and then all of a sudden he bursts forward with some thrust mentally and physically that kind of plants him back in. It's very cool. I mean, it's like such a sick, rhythmically intentioned track. It's very satisfying to listen to. I love that. I just love it because in the upper register and the tenors there's really this declaiming, this pronouncing, this it's a real, and that's another giveaway that this feels much more like, to me, it feels much more like an outward expression of something, because the tenors are up in the upper register and the baritones are really pointedly almost shouting rather than singing that whatever the text is, like that sort of emphatic. They're really letting us know, like, yo, this is, you know what I mean? Like, I'm losing myself. You know what I sort of picture? I sort of picture Artorias, and I don't know why, but especially here with the bomb, isn't that? Wait, don't the chimes represent Abyss Watchers? There's something there that, like, really, like, at this point, like, the consumption has taken over, and at this point, it's almost like he's possessed, or it's possessed by something else, and the chime there really is like the death bell, and you notice how like it also gets a bit wider with the orchestration, and we still keep the male choral sound, which I think does represent Fulghor at its core, but the chant, or I'm sorry, the strings and the bell tolling, I think, are the new element that really represents sort of being drowned in something. It's so cool. Wow, cool. I also really like how in this third phase we actually also add the sopranos, which means to me like the power is doubled. To me, it feels like this is really like, well, I mean, most phase 3s are going to be like that anyway. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to think that phase 3 is going to be harder, but there's something about this particular phase where it feels like the loss of control and the sort of, again, the musical violence was still elegant, but it loses the sense of control, and it becomes fuller and richer, and has more range to it. So I think to me, like, it's like almost like the size of the sword grows, or you know, something related to that, where there's an increase in it's just a loss of control, but still maintains its elegant structure, which is really interesting. Super sharp rhythmically, really fun fight to listen to. Let's check it out. I'm at this point, I'm so intrigued with seeing what these characters look like. Whoa. Wait a second. No arm. Scarlet Rot? Red Helm? Whoa. Wow, that's absolutely crazy. I mean, you do get the sense of that fallen knight, and I wonder what the implications are with that arm as well. Like, maybe there's something correlated to that within the lore of this character, where, you know, maybe he was, you know, the powerful centaur, like the head of his people or something, and then something happens to him, and he becomes a corrupted version of himself. I mean, it's really interesting there. Really powerful piece of music too. Definitely another one of my favorites from the Nightreign soundtrack. There's lots more FromSoft on the channel, and more Nightreign, of course, to come, if not already all here. Thanks a ton, and I'll see you later. Bye.